Welcome back to the Past My Prime YouTube channel. Dustin Prime here, and hello to all my internet friends, or should I say goodbye. If TikTok gets banned in the United States, how will I find all of that amazing content for pretty much anything I could possibly imagine? Wait, hold on. Well, this impending ban is a complicated issue, and there was some breaking news on the topic today. But wait, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button to stay informed, and then comment down below, do you think TikTok will be banned in the United States? And if so, is it for the better or worse? Now, back to the video. So why exactly is this ban happening? Well, simple reason is the United States is looking to ban TikTok due to national security concerns. Lawmakers and officials fear that ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, could be looking to share user data with the Chinese government, potentially enabling espionage, influence, blackmail of American citizens. So yeah, bad stuff. Do I think any of that's actually happening? No, but then again, how could you really tell unless they had some cold hard cases and evidence? Currently, TikTok has about 180 million US users, and ByteDance denies those allegations or possibilities. And so you might be wondering, well, if TikTok goes away, will the crowds just hop on to a different social media? Will people go to Reels? Will people go to posting some sort of thing on X or YouTube Shorts? I'm not sure, but I don't think it's going to be some sort of immediate replacement for something that Facebook or X could think of. And there's actually something that's already waiting in the wings, ready to strike on this opportunity. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think Meta currently has anything, unless they would just assume Instagram Reels. There it is, RedNote. So what she's mentioning there, RedNote, also known by its Chinese name, Xianghongxu, is an app based out of a company from Shanghai, China, and it came out in like 2013, but it just has had a humongous surge of popularity because of this whole TikTok ban thing. And the app has already seen tons of users starting to like get over onto there, and they're coming in using the hashtag like TikTok refugee, so it's already starting to blow up with a lot of users. It was originally called like China's answer to Instagram, but I don't know how well that competed, if at all any, in the United States with Instagram. But it's already been really popular in China, and it looks like right now this was their chance to like strike at this perfect time and opportunity to try to suck away so many users. But it makes you wonder if all this TikTok ban stuff happened because of possible affiliations with the Chinese government. Couldn't something like that already be in place for this RedNote? Would they just want to ban RedNote? So besides just trying to find another replacement app or an outright ban, there was some compromise that was made. Legislation was signed in earlier of April 2024, last year, that said ByteDance had to divest TikTok out of their company. And they had to do it in 270 days or face the ban hammer. Well, the deadline for that compromise is January 19th, 2025. So like 3 days. And so there's been all this discussion, why can't they just sell, find a buyer, get someone to buy it, have someone take it over? There were some big names looking at buying it, like possibly Elon Musk or that guy Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, but none of this has come to fruition yet. But people have been running with the story that Elon would attempt to buy TikTok the same way that he bought X.
Victor, this is just breaking right now. Bloomberg is reporting that Chinese officials are evaluating a potential sale of TikTok to U.S.
Discussing the sale of TikTok
to
U.S.
Elon
for
Musk.
Musk to buy as a possible
Before
option.
the app gets banned in the United States. Oh my God. Oh man. Okay.
That would be crazy.
Exploding across the globe. Okay.
People would lose their minds if Elon also bought TikTok. So yeah, that news started to kind of break that Elon was looking to possibly buy TikTok, but I guess that was maybe fake news or miscommunication, because then other news came out.
TikTok saying that a report that it's considering selling its U.S. operations to Elon Musk is, quote, pure fiction. This coming after a report from Bloomberg that the parent company ByteDance is weighing possible sale of its U.S. business to the billionaire owner of X. When it comes to what ultimately this means here for TikTok and the future here in the U.S., the Supreme Court last week seemed to be inclined to let the law stand, and that, of course, goes into effect this Sunday. Trump has said that he wants to find a way to let TikTok remain here in the U.S., so certainly setting up what has been and continues to be a battle inside the Beltway for what exactly should be done and needs to be done to address some of these national security concerns. But again, when you have Elon Musk, you had TikTok pushing against this report, but Elon Musk, obviously an insider within the administration, potentially could be taking a stake in this company. It's raising some eyebrows.
That makes me wonder if potentially there is some truth to that. Like, you know, it's whenever a report comes out about something, it's kind of like a, hey, confirm or deny, and it's just like, well, you're either going to deny it or you're just going to say you have no comment, because you don't want to say, well, we're thinking about possibly negotiating it, but we're not sure yet. Because then the question is going to be, well, how much is it going to be sold for? What's the price? Is there any sort of negotiating, things like that happening? It would be stupid for them just to outright say, Binance that is, to say, yes, we're in talks and we're trying to sell it to Elon. And so there were some people asking and saying, well, what happens on January 19th? You know, will the app still be there? Will the app get deleted? But TikTok has come right out and said, no, they're just suspending the service on January 19th. So they're taking a preemptive approach. Here's a little bit more info on that.
TikTok is voluntarily shutting down on Sunday. TikTok is voluntarily shutting down on Sunday. They are not even waiting for the Supreme Court ruling. Reuters just reported that an insider at TikTok told them that they are voluntarily shutting down the app on Sunday.
Wow.
Follow all of your favorite creators now because you will
like,
not be able to access the app after Sunday night. I will only be on the video app and Red Note at What the Ish on both platforms. So what's going to happen? Starting on Sunday,
Red Note user.
if you go into the TikTok app, it will not be there anymore. Instead, you're going to get a black screen that's going to direct you to more information on the TikTok ban. TikTok has not formally commented on this, but this is coming from Reuters, which is like a legit news outlet. And I just talked to a reporter there saying they have an insider at TikTok who's remaining anonymous, but it's shown them legit evidence that this is actually happening. Originally, we thought, okay, it's going to be gone from the App Store, but we'll still have access to the app for a little bit. It's just going to start to lag, and then eventually we won't be able to use it. Now,
this is the same way they can like region block stuff.
Now, the good news is that if the Supreme Court decides to move forward with the case and they pull back the ban, then TikTok will reinstate the app for users. The thing is, in our judicial system, there is a thing called mootness, which means if an issue is moot, if it's no longer an issue, then the court won't hear the case. So even though we are supposed to hear news from the Supreme Court today on the TikTok ban,
it's almost
they
like
might
this
say,
is a
well,
bluff or
TikTok
something.
voluntarily pulled everything, so this is no longer an issue, and they might not rule on it at all. So this could potentially be the end of TikTok, unless they send it back down to the lower court and they reverse. This is fucking crazy. I just found out about this like minutes ago and I'm still reeling.
Yeah, so that's super interesting. What she's saying there, kind of what I talked about before, is, you know, this is kind of, will be just blocked within the region. So the app will still be there. It will no longer have updates and things like that. But if you attempt to open it, you probably won't see any sort of sign in. It'll just be locked out. She's mentioning that she heard from an insider that it will redirect you to some sort of, you know, information about the whole case and ban as a whole within the United States, which maybe it would be, but it would be interesting to see if people would use a VPN to possibly get around this, if there could be some mobile VPN that would work, or if they would have some way to track that to see where you're logging in from, or possibly pull it from the phone itself. Like, you know, it can register that this is a US based device, and so it just blocks it in that sense. TikTok's just taking the preemptive approach. Just, all right, well, if we're gonna play this game, we're gonna play this game, and we're making the first move. We're just turning the service off for the United States. I wonder if that'll be East Coast or West Coast time for when they actually pull the plug. But there was some breaking news today, and we started seeing, oh no, it's not gonna be banned. We're gonna get an extension. Things are saved for, you know, at least the time being. But it was kind of confusing. I think some people got carried away a little too quick, like this next clip.
You guys, this is not a drill. The TikTok ban just got extended. Literally shaking right now. I cannot believe this is actually happening. And tell me why I just manifested this, because earlier I made a video saying that, oh my gosh, I hope the TikTok ban doesn't happen. I hope something comes up. And then this happens. We officially have TikTok for another 270 days.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
not how it
could
works.
not be happier. TikTok is gonna get banned. And then this happens. 270 days is basically like a year. We basically have like another year of free TikTok.
So what she's talking about there was a piece of legislation that was put forth by a few senators earlier today on Wednesday the 15th. It was the senators Markey, Wyden, and Booker with Representative Ro Khanna. And simply enough, it was called Extend the TikTok Deadline Act. It wanted to give the Chinese company ByteDance another 270 days to possibly sell off the product. But the thing is it's not done yet. It's only been introduced. So lawmakers still have to put this to a vote and then try to pass it. And so that gives them Thursday and Friday to try and get this done. If it was passed, it would extend out the deadline for them to sell until October 15th. And I'm not saying it can't be done, but I mean, come on, it's the US government. Do you really think that they can introduce this and get it done in the next 2 days? I don't think so. And so here was Senator Ed Markey kind of, dropping the news on, of all places, TikTok today.
I'm about to go to the Senate floor to ask for unanimous consent to pass my bill, which will delay the ban on TikTok.
Hey, I mean, more power to him, but I don't see it happening, but good luck. And so with TikTok getting banned, possibly, there will be a lot of content creators and businesses that are affected by it. And there's people saying, you should go over to this platform or try to switch over to this, be ready. You got to take some sort of action to protect yourself, protect your livelihood. There's all sorts of advice out there. But there's also some really bad advice, and I saw this and I just was like, no, this is just a stupid idea. Hope this guy's just being dramatic.
If the government bans TikTok, I'm not gonna pay my taxes. I said it. TikTok is my job, all right? I get money from this. Last year, the money that I earned from TikTok, I paid taxes on it. This year, I'm not doing that, all right? If you can't take away my job and then still demand taxes, that's not how this works, all right?
So this mindset's kind of odd, like, well, if you take my job away, I'm not gonna pay your taxes. Then it's like, well, you would only be paying the taxes on the income that you were making from that job. And just because it's TikTok, it's not like you don't have to pay those taxes. I mean, it's just like any other job out there. If you're doing work that you're getting paid for in the United States, unfortunately, you gotta pay that tax on it. So that's just really stupid advice. I hope that guy's being dramatic. Like, don't stop paying your taxes on the money that you earned just because TikTok got banned. I mean, a simple analogy would be you got laid off from your job in June, so you're not gonna pay any taxes on the income you earned from the beginning of the year. It just doesn't make sense. And then the last thing you would want is to be audited if you didn't have a job and you were struggling and trying to survive. Not a good idea. Be sure to pay the taxes. Don't get audited. So we've talked about what content creators think, what the government thinks, what the government's trying to do, but there really hadn't been a lot of input or info coming from what TikTok and ByteDance actually think about this potential ban. Well, the CEO was putting a message out to the users right here.
Hi everyone, it's Show here. Just wanted to share some thoughts with our US users about the disappointing vote in the House of Representatives. There has been a lot of misinformation, and I hope to clarify some things. First, thank you to our incredible community. You are what makes TikTok so special. Thank you for making your voices heard. Over the last few years, we have invested to keep your data safe and our platform free from outside manipulation. We have committed that we will continue to do so. This legislation, if signed into law, will lead to a ban of TikTok in the United States. Even the bill sponsors admit that that's their goal. This bill gives more power to a handful of other social media companies. It will also take billions of dollars out of the pockets of creators and small businesses. It will put more than 300,000 American jobs at risk, and it will take away your
that's
TikTok.
the bad part.
We know how important TikTok is.
That's really
to all
bad.
of you.
I think the big issue is the content creators that are going to be really affected by this if they have structured their livelihood around the money that they were making from TikTok. It's like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, if you put all your eggs in the TikTok basket and then something like this is looming and ready to happen, in a few days, I can see how that would be very, very detrimental to the new year, 2025, any sort of plans that you had, any sort of goals that you had, whether you were looking to be investing some of this money, buying a house, using this money to go to school, start a bigger business. I mean, the impacts will be big. And I bet all those content creators that made bank, a few years ago and things like that are just like, man, lucky me. They got the bag and ran. So besides the ban and besides, some sort of billionaire, like, Elon or Mr. Wonderful buying the app, is there any other way to possibly get this saved so it doesn't get banned? It can be sold and continue to operate in the United States. Well, there was this thing called Project Liberty that says that's their goal.
You want to own TikTok?
I want Project Liberty to own TikTok. And yes, I'm connected to Project Liberty, but I want this to be, we call it the People's Bid for a reason.
The
We
People's
want
Bid.
people,
Project
all
Liberty.
of us in America, as many as possible, to have a stakehold in not only TikTok, but the future of the internet.
I haven't heard about
We've
this.
engaged with ByteDance through our banker, and we have received acknowledgement that they've received our offer.
How much are you and your partners willing to spend on TikTok?
We're going to keep the terms of our offer confidential
Yeah, he's
out
not
of
saying
respect
how
for
much.
them until they have a chance to digest it. However, I have been fairly public about what we think it's worth and the amount of money we've raised. And that's order of magnitude $20 billion. And so I think you can draw the conclusion as to what we're thinking about in terms of the value of U.S. TikTok, which is a small portion of ByteDance. And
20 billion is U.S. TikTok, your estimation.
That's right, without the algorithm.
There is no way the Chinese government lets anyone have that algorithm.
I think they've been quite clear about that. They view that as national IP, and it's not going anywhere. Lots of people thought, well, why would I buy it without the algorithm, or nobody would buy it without the algorithm. I think what makes our bid unique is that we're offering to buy it without
they don't want to give up the
intellectual
logic.
property, without the algorithm. And I think that may be the key to unlock the door in order to get this app sold and a transaction to take place which will keep the app alive.
That is super interesting what this group, Project Liberty, is trying to do. So they want to get, some capital together. They have a banker who's helping them do this. They've already extended the offer to ByteDance, apparently. They didn't want to say exactly how much that offer was, but he said he's been vocal in the past about what he assumes and what they calculate the US TikTok market is worth. So he's saying 20 billion, but that is only just for the app, not including the intellectual property, which itself is the algorithm. So just like every social media has the algorithm for how they control things, how they push the content, how they do the recommendations, how they keep people scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, that wouldn't be sold and included with the transaction. So the same way something like YouTube wouldn't give up the algorithm for its long form videos or its short recommendations, ByteDance does not want to give that up either. Some sort of development team would have to kind of pick the pieces apart, re-engineer some of that, and come up with some sort of logic that works for the users. And you would have to think it would have to be very, very similar, if not better, than what TikTok previously had, or people would not want to use it. It could almost be like starting completely over. So, super interesting news. Do you think TikTok's gonna get banned, or do you think someone's gonna come in with, a last hour play and pull it off and buy it? Or do you think that the legislation could get passed to kick the can down the road and get that extension in place for another 270 days? I really don't know, but I mean, this is going to be huge if it does get banned, and on this upcoming Sunday, it is not available. But I think the biggest thing is it will be also very, very interesting to see where the majority of users flock to. Whether it's something new, like this other app that's gaining popularity, RedNote, or if Instagram sees more of this traffic, or if someone like the X company is just waiting for this to happen and they have something ready to go to replace it. I don't think anything's off the table. Wild times, but I'm gonna cut it there, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.